Well, fourth time's the charm. I was able to see the new Fantastic Four First Steps film last night, and I really did enjoy it. I'm actually surprised because I was starting to worry that Marvel could not release a good, enjoyable film to me this year, and luckily they did. I wasn't a big fan of Thunderbolts, and I didn't really walk away liking the new Captain America film that much. But with Fantastic Four, I can easily say this was the best movie they made so far, and I'm really happy for them because this is hopefully the new direction they keep going with. This is also the start of a new phase for them, so let's just hope they keep this quality and momentum going. The story takes place on another Earth in a different universe, which is surprising. If you've seen the end of Thunderbolts, you'd assume they were somewhat connected, but I guess not. We'll just have to wait to see what Marvel does with that connection. But yes, it takes place on a different Earth. The Fantastic Four are already established heroes. You already know the story about the 4 astronauts going out into space, getting affected by some space magic stuff, and coming back as heroes. And they use their powers to protect humanity, save the city, all that, defeat the bad guys, and even improve society as well. They don't really waste too much time explaining the heroes and their origins because that would really take a long time. They do a good enough job here to set up who they are, their relationships to each other, so I'm really glad they did that. Obviously it would be a waste of time. Like I said with other superhero movies, sometimes you just cannot waste time on setting up an origin story. Most people probably already know. The acting was pretty good. I didn't think anyone really fell behind or really did a horrible job that stood out. It felt sometimes that Joseph Quinn, who played the Human Torch, was a little lacking in area, but I eventually did come to like him and his performance. Pedro Pascal and Vanessa Kirby are really the main two leads of the Fantastic Four, and they did a really good job. They seem like they have a lot of good chemistry, so those two just go good together. I mean, if you've seen the interviews, you've seen how these two are really close friends. Julia Gardner played Shala Bal, or the Silver Surfer girl, Dudette. She did a really fine job. I really liked her performance as well. Ibn Mas... I'm not going to say that. He did a fine job too, and I really liked what the movie did with his character and how he got to interact with the community and the children, and I'll talk more about characters here in just a sec. And overall, really, the acting between the Fantastic Four characters, they all really did a great job, really. They actually did feel like a family. It didn't feel like the acting was awkward or out of place. So yeah, they all did really good. The characters themselves are really good. I feel like they portrayed, who they are, the Fantastic Four, really well. I mentioned just earlier that The Thing had a lot of good moments in this film, at least to me. I like how we interacted with the children and the community and everything. I just really like when movies do that. The superheroes in this movie aren't just some weird goons that just live in a tall-ass building and watch everyone. They actually go into the streets and hang out with people. Now, granted, we only saw The Thing do that, but I at least enjoyed it. It shows, how human they are. They didn't forget who they were before they became superheroes. The relationship between Mr. Fantastic's character and Sue Storm's character was really great. They really do love each other and they care for each other. There are some moments in this film where they do have tension, so I really like what they did with that. There is a point in the movie where Sue Storm becomes pregnant, and the Human Torch's character isn't anything like Chris Evans' character at all. I even liked how he's one of the first people to jump into action in a lot of the scenes. Yeah, he's the Human Torch. He can fly, he can go fast, and he's made of fire. I just really like what they did with this, these characters. There was good moments where they showed off what they could do. I will say one complaint. I really don't think they did enough to show off the superheroes, abilities and moments. They had a decent amount, but I would have liked just a little bit more. In fact, pretty much the beginning of the film, or the first act, is where they use a lot of their powers, and the end is where they use a lot of their powers. The middle act and the middle center of the film doesn't really have a lot of moments where they use their powers at all. Hell, even Mr. Fantastic doesn't really do his stretchiness, and obviously stretchy powers and abilities and is not really that great, especially in live action forms. It's just really not something companies just can get a grasp of, so maybe that's why they were trying not to do it that much. When it comes to live action, of course in animated, obviously it's fine and well done. But yeah, I would have just liked to see more superhero or super abilities being used instead of just the first and third act. The story is still really good. The pacing is really strong. I really liked how the film, sets up a lot of things to happen. I'm not going to say too much about the plot, but this film does involve Galactus, and him coming to Earth for something. And there's this, in the second half of the film, the Fantastic Four does a lot of planning where they need to figure out what they're going to do to like stop this guy. Really enjoyed those moments. I really enjoyed just the Fantastic Four being this group of heroes who can really unite the world and make changes. So I really just loved what they did with this and what they did to make the Fantastic Four more human. When you think of a superhero, you think of like someone who's just fighting evil and like, you know, stopping this destruction or something or whatever. But these are heroes who save people, and, you know, they interact with the people and they actually give to their community. They do what they can to help them. Now, I know there's movies and stories and superheroes that do that, like maybe a Spider-Man movie. You know, you don't see superheroes where they actually do something to contribute to society in a massive way. Again, there is ways superheroes do that in other stories, but I really liked what Fantastic Four did in this, where they were showing what more they were doing instead of just stopping bad guys or stopping evil. Like, they were actually contributing. I really enjoyed that. I thought the writing was decent. There was a moment where Sue Storm kind of got pissy with Mr. Fantastic for something that he was theorizing. I didn't really enjoy that moment, but other than that, it's still fine. Sue Storm is pregnant during this movie, and they do the whole, I'm pregnant and I'm gonna go on this dangerous mission that could probably kill me. I get what they're trying to do. I don't think it's that bad, but I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I could just be, you know, stupid or something. But if I were to ever be in a situation where I knew someone who's pregnant and we're like in a situation where they could get hurt easily, I'm not taking any risks. I'm not having them going on these dangerous adventures. Now, it turns out that Sue Storm being pregnant was important to the plot, but still, I don't think I would have this happen. I've been noticing this a lot in Marvel and Disney properties where pregnant women are, you know, fighting a lot. And again, maybe it's fine. Maybe I'm just stupid. Maybe pregnant women can do more than I think, but I don't know. I just think pregnant women should just be in a safe space as much as possible. If I'm wrong, definitely call me out. Some things that I didn't really like too much is the CGI and the animations and the lighting and the coloring. This was really the weakest point of the film because there was just a lot of things that just didn't look that great. The CGI especially didn't look great. Like I mentioned, they didn't really use Mr. Fantastic's powers that much, and I think I know why. It's pretty obvious, and I even mentioned this, that Hollywood just doesn't know how to do these things. It seems like it's only a cartoon thing that could be done right. And like, there was also a time where like Mr. Fantastic was about to use his power, but the camera was only zoomed in on his face, and they didn't show his arm stretch. I mean, they obviously showed him stretching and using his abilities, but they didn't use him as much as I wanted. And like I said earlier, it's probably because they just don't know what to do. And it even proves in this film, they just didn't show it that much. They showed off everyone else's powers pretty fine, and it looked pretty decent, but for whatever reason, stretching this, it just cannot be done. And yeah, there was a lot of grayed out, washed out moments in the film. At one point, the film just was all grayed out, and it kind of looked really bad, really. And I don't know what needs to be done with that, but this grayness palette needs to stop. The lighting also really just wasn't that great. Really, if this area could just be fixed up, this movie could be a lot higher, you know, as far as my score goes. Animators, as it is, isn't really being treated, you know, that great. So this is more than likely what the cause was. Of course, I don't know for sure. But yeah, animation, lighting, and coloring, they could use a lot more work. There wasn't really that much set pieces. In the second act of the film, they go out into space to meet Galactus because they want to stop him. And, you know, this space scene looks really cool. Them launching out into space and seeing all the planets and doing the warp speed, that was all really fun. A lot of CGI, of course. Speaking of, like, setting, there was this moment that I even noticed in the trailer where, you know, the Human Torch's hair just didn't move as he was floating and flying around. And I know, like, I don't know, obviously his hair shouldn't be catching on fire, but his hair doesn't like float around or move a bunch. It acts like it's not even on fire. This plays into the CGI thing, but yeah, this movie didn't really think too much about, you know, the appearance of the Human Torch in that area. Want to go back to this point about Galactus. He was the main villain of this story. I obviously think he will be coming back in more installments. because obviously the next Avengers is called Doomsday, but who knows? I just don't think this character, especially if you read the comics, I don't think this kind of a character is going to be defeated by the Fantastic Four. It's as if like Ant-Man defeated Thanos. That's not going to happen. But yeah, he definitely was menacing, he was threatening. I really wish we could see more motivations behind him. We got to see a little bit of what he truly wants and his goals and everything, but not really. It's like a spoonful. We only really got a taste. So I really hope we get some more time to, you know, flesh out this villain. Obviously, the next main villain is also going to be Doctor Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr., so we will see what the MCU does with these characters. They seem like they're going to be the next big bad guys to face. I think the music was one of the best parts about this film. They have this, like, I don't know if it's a leitmotif, but they had this tune that was in every other song. I'm assuming it's like the Fantastic Four's, you know, theme, but it was a really good song choice. I just remember the music being really well done. It matched the tone. It wasn't like too obvious. It wasn't too distracting. A lot of good moments with the editing and the cinematography. I would have liked to see some more cool shots, especially with the Human Torch, considering he can like fly around and do a lot of things, but you know, they did a fine job there. Nothing like too crazy. I made a mention about it, but yeah, this is now like the 4th installment of the Fantastic Four, so hey, maybe it was just that they needed 4 of them, because I know there's the 90s one, which I haven't seen that much, and then there's the modern 2000s ones with Chris Evans. Those movies were just fine. I feel like people hate on them a little bit more. They're not that bad. Obviously, the 2015 installment was a mistake and should not have happened. I don't even remember much about it. I only remember the end scene. But yeah, finally the 4th and probably, well, I mean, who's to say it's the final? But yes, the 4th installment of the Fantastic Four was a really good movie. It's really enjoyable, really fun. I can definitely see myself watching it again. I don't want to say too much about the spoilers. I think this is actually a good film, and I think Marvel should keep up this momentum with the quality and how good this film was. They need to continue this because they haven't really been impressing me that much. So I really am hoping for Marvel to like get a comeback here. I'm going to give this movie a 4 times 2 out of 10. That's my score. I think it's really deserving of it. If it really got down its animations and its CGI and its lighting and coloring and all that, it could definitely be higher. You know, have some better human moments here. A lot more of them, really. I just really love this part of the film. And yeah, this could be a really higher scored movie for me. But yes, that's the Fantastic Four First Steps, the final movie from Marvel this year. And yeah, what do you guys think? Let me know. Talk about it. Oh god. The next Marvel movie won't be here for a while. I think it's the next Spider-Man movie. But yeah, and obviously, you know, stay for the end because there's going to be an important end credit scene. And yeah, that's all I really want to say. Everyone, you have a great rest of your day.